An ancient computer built 2,000 years ago defies everything we know about technological history. These unexplained artifacts are not mere curiosities. They are profound challenges to our entire timeline of human innovation. By the end of this journey, you will understand the cutting-edge science being used to crack these ancient codes and why their secrets could rewrite our past. We will encounter a map that shows a continent invisible to its era and a manuscript written in a language that still has no key. What single mystery from the ancient world has always captured your imagination? This deep-seated fascination with the unexplained is the engine of discovery, pushing researchers to question the very bedrock of history. It is this drive that brings us to the first object on our journey, an artifact so startling it seems to defy the very laws of physics. Found in a 2,000-year-old shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera, the mechanism is a complex clockwork of bronze gears, housed in a wooden box no larger than a shoebox. For decades after its recovery, it was a beautiful but inscrutable mystery, a corroded lump of metal that hid its true genius. Then, painstaking analysis began to reveal its purpose. This was not a simple calendar or religious device. It was an analog computer of breathtaking complexity, designed to predict the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, and even to forecast eclipses with pinpoint accuracy. The gears within its casing model the irregular orbits of celestial bodies, a mathematical understanding we did not believe the ancient Greeks possessed. How could a civilization known for philosophy and sculpture produce a machine that would not be rivaled for over 1,000 years? The Antikythera Mechanism stands as a silent, bronze testament to a level of technological sophistication that we never knew existed, forcing us to ask what other secrets are still buried, waiting for their gears to turn once more. So why did this spark of genius not ignite an industrial revolution 2,000 years ago? The answer might lie in the mechanism itself, a unique artifact born from a singular convergence of knowledge and craftsmanship, perhaps too precious and complex to be widely replicated. Its very existence, however, proves that the intellectual capacity for such invention was there, lying dormant in the ancient world. This single device forces us to reconsider the entire landscape of classical innovation, moving our search from the sun-drenched Mediterranean to a far colder and more mysterious location. Deep within a peat bog in Denmark, a discovery was made that presents a different kind of puzzle, one not of intricate gears but of simple, perfect geometry. Known as the Vindalev deposit, this collection of golden artifacts included a large, ornate medallion that has since rewritten our understanding of the early Norse world. What made this medallion so special was not just its craftsmanship, but a precise, astronomical code hidden in its design. The arrangement of its intricate swirls and symbols corresponds with a solar eclipse that darkened the Scandinavian sky in the year 732. This was not mere decoration, it was a celestial record, a way of marking time and power through cosmic events. For a culture we often picture as fierce warriors, this object reveals a sophisticated society with keen astronomers who track the heavens with stunning accuracy. How did they achieve such precision, and what other knowledge was preserved in their art? The Vindalev Medallion stands as a glittering testament to the fact that advanced understanding can be found in the most unexpected places, pushing our quest for answers even further across the globe. But the Golden Medallion's celestial code is not the only ancient secret that challenges our assumptions about power. From the cold bogs of the north, we travel to the cradle of civilization itself, where a simple clay jar hints at a different kind of energy entirely. Discovered in the ruins of a Parthian village near modern-day Baghdad, this unassuming artifact looks like nothing more than a vase, roughly 5 inches tall. Its secret is held inside a carefully arranged assembly of a copper cylinder and an iron rod, all sealed within with a mysterious asphalt plug. For decades, it was just another museum piece, its purpose lost to time. Then a theory emerged that sent shockwaves through the historical community. If this jar were filled with an acidic liquid, like vinegar or wine, the chemical reaction between the iron rod and the copper cylinder would create a small but measurable electric current. In essence, this 2,000-year-old pot could have been a battery. The implications are staggering. Replicas built to its exact specifications have proven it can generate about 1 volt of electricity, enough to electroplate a small object, gilding it with a thin layer of gold or silver. Yet here lies the core of the mystery. While the device works in theory, no one has ever found an electroplated artifact from that time and place that can be definitively linked to its use. So what was its true purpose? Some scholars argue it was merely a sacred scroll case, its metal components simply holders for a precious papyrus. But why the specific choice of metals, and why the asphalt seal, unless it was meant to hold a liquid? The debate continues, a quiet hum of scholarly disagreement surrounding this ancient vessel. It forces us to wonder, did a handful of ancient artisans stumble upon the basic principles of electricity, using it for some forgotten ritual or craft? This electrical enigma, a silent jar holding the ghost of a charge, connects directly to another discovery that suggests our ancestors were not just observing the world, but actively experimenting with its most fundamental forces. The quiet hum of a possible ancient battery is one thing, but what happens when an artifact seems to short-circuit our entire timeline? In 1961, 3 rockhounds searching for geodes near Olancha, California, cracked open what they thought was a particularly promising stone. Inside, instead of the expected crystal cavity, they found a hard ceramic cylinder surrounding a 2mm metal rod, all encased within a shell of hardened clay and fossilized shells. It looked for all the world like a modern spark plug. The mystery deepened when the object was analyzed. The surrounding material was said to be 500,000 years old, a date that would place this mechanical-looking object firmly in a time when early humans were just beginning to use simple stone tools. How could a spark plug exist 500,000 years before the automobile was invented? The immediate, tantalizing conclusion was that this Coso artifact was a piece of advanced technology from a lost prehistoric civilization, or perhaps even evidence of ancient visitors from another world. The scientific community, however, was deeply skeptical. Further, more rigorous examination suggested a far more mundane, yet equally fascinating explanation. The internal components closely matched a champion spark plug from the 1920s, a common item in the early days of the American auto industry. Geologists then proposed a natural process called concretion, where mineral-rich water can rapidly accumulate around an object, cementing it into a hard, stone-like nodule that can appear ancient. The fossil shells embedded in the outer layer could have been from existing sediments that simply incorporated the modern object. Yet, the initial dating and the peculiar circumstances of its discovery have never been fully put to rest. This object, whether a 20th century spark plug caught in a geological accident or something far stranger, perfectly encapsulates the core dilemma of these ancient mysteries. It forces us to scrutinize not only the artifacts themselves, but our own methods and biases. How do we tell the difference between a genuine historical anomaly and an elaborate trick of nature? The Coso artifact remains a compelling Rorschach test, challenging the very boundaries of what we consider possible and impossible. a puzzle that shifts seamlessly from the depths of the Earth to the lines on a map. That spark plug, whether a modern mistake or a genuine enigma, forces us to question the very maps of our past, and one map in particular does more than just raise questions. It completely redraws the boundaries of known history. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis compiled a world map, a beautiful and intricate document drawn on gazelle skin. For centuries, it was seen as a curious artifact of its time, notable but not extraordinary. Then, in the 20th century, cartographers took a closer look. They realized the map depicted not just the familiar coasts of Europe and Africa, but also the eastern coastline of South America with startling accuracy. More shocking still was a landmass at the bottom of the world, a place no European was supposed to have seen for another 300 years, Antarctica. The map showed this continent not as the ice-locked wilderness we know today, but with detailed, ice-free coastlines, mountains, and rivers. How could a 16th century admiral have charted a continent buried under miles of ice? The most compelling theory is that Piri Reis was not exploring these lands himself. He wrote notes on the map stating he had used source charts from the libraries of Constantinople, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great. This suggests he was copying from far older maps, created by a seafaring civilization with knowledge of the entire globe, a civilization that must have mapped Antarctica when its coasts were temperate and green. Modern satellite surveys using radar to penetrate the Antarctic ice sheet have revealed a shocking truth. The subglacial topography of the continent, its true coastline, matches the outlines on the Piri Reis map with an accuracy that seems impossible for a guess. This is not a question of ancient aliens, but of a forgotten human epoch. It points to a sophisticated, global maritime culture, perhaps during the last warm period before the ice caps formed, a civilization advanced enough to undertake voyages across the open ocean and create accurate charts of their discoveries. What happened to these master cartographers? Their names and their nation are lost to time, their achievements surviving only as faint echoes in a single copied map. This cartographic ghost challenges us to wonder how much knowledge has been lost to the rising seas and shifting ice ages, pushing our search from the lines on a chart to the very stones that built the world. A map that redraws the world is one thing, but what about a book that no one in the world can read? Locked away in a vault at Yale University is a small, unassuming volume that has defied comprehension for centuries. Known as the Voynich Manuscript, this 240-page codex from the 15th century is written entirely in a unique, flowing script that has never been seen anywhere else. Its alphabet consists of strange, elegant characters that form words and sentences in a language that simply does not exist, at least not one we recognize. Accompanying this indecipherable text are hundreds of intricate illustrations that only deepen the mystery. You will find pages filled with plants that have no known botanical counterpart, their roots and leaves arranged in impossible ways. There are detailed astrological charts showing unfamiliar constellations and celestial systems. Perhaps most puzzling of all are the sections depicting tiny, nude women bathing in interconnected, green-tinted pools and tubes, a biological or alchemical diagram that makes no logical sense to modern eyes. For over 100 years, the world's top cryptographers have tried to break its code. Military codebreakers from both world wars who cracked enemy ciphers turned their skills to the Voynich and failed. In recent decades, supercomputers and artificial intelligence have analyzed its patterns, searching for the hidden grammar of a lost tongue. They have concluded the text has a complex structure, ruling out the theory it is an elaborate hoax, yet its meaning remains locked away. What secrets was the author protecting with such an unbreakable cipher? Was it the formula for an elixir of life, advanced astronomical knowledge deemed heretical, or the inner workings of a secret society that vanished from history? The manuscript's very existence challenges our entire perception of the Middle Ages, suggesting pockets of esoteric knowledge and intellectual pursuits that were so dangerous, so valuable, they had to be encoded in a language for one. This literary fortress, a book that is both a tangible object and an impenetrable idea, demonstrates that some mysteries are not written in stone, but sometimes the most baffling ones are. A book that no one can read finds a strange echo in an object that speaks a language no one understands. On the sun-baked island of Crete, within the ruins of the Minoan palace of Phaistos, a fired clay disc was unearthed. It is not large, only about 6 inches across, and its surface is covered on both sides with a spiral of 45 distinct stamped symbols. There are marching men and tattooed heads, birds in flight and bundles of flowers, all pressed neatly into the clay. This is the Phaistos Disc, and it is utterly unique. The method of its creation is as startling as its appearance. Each symbol was not carved by hand, but stamped using a set of pre-made seals, a form of movable type printing that would not become common for another 3,000 years. Yet this single object is the only one of its kind ever discovered. No other seals, no other documents with this script, no Rosetta Stone to offer a key. Its message is a locked room with no door. Is it a prayer to a forgotten goddess, a king's proclamation, or perhaps the rules for a ritual game, its spiral path a track for players to follow? We simply do not know. Every attempt at decipherment is a guess in the dark, a reflection of our own hopes projected onto its silent clay. The disc stands as a monument to a lost system of communication, a single, perfect sentence in a language whose very alphabet has vanished from the earth. This mystery of a forgotten script carved in clay leads us to a different kind of inscription, one not stamped with symbols but forged in metal, challenging our entire timeline of human industry. That same mystery of a forgotten language carved in clay finds a powerful echo in a monument of pure, silent endurance. In a quiet corner of Delhi, India, stands a pillar of iron that has defied the elements for over 1,600 years. It rises over 7 meters tall, a single, solid piece of wrought iron forged in the 4th century, and it shows almost no sign of rust. In a city with hot, humid monsoons, this should be impossible. Modern steel, left exposed, would have long since corroded into a brittle, reddish shell. Yet the iron pillar of Delhi remains, a dark, metallic sentinel from the age of the Gupta Empire. The secret to its longevity was not magic, but a stunningly sophisticated understanding of metallurgy. Ancient blacksmiths crafted it with an unusually high phosphorus content and a very low sulfur and manganese content. This specific recipe, achieved through a forging process we are only now beginning to fully appreciate, allowed a thin, protective film to form on the metal's surface. This passive layer, a mere whisper of oxidized material, actually shields the iron beneath from the attacks of moisture and oxygen. It is a self-healing shield, a product of chemical equilibrium that modern science is desperately trying to replicate for buildings and bridges today. How did these ancient metalworkers, without electron microscopes or chemical formulas, possess such a nuanced command of environmental chemistry? They were not merely beating hot metal into shape, they were orchestrating a molecular ballet, creating an alloy that could converse with the atmosphere and emerge unscathed. This pillar is not just a relic, it is a living lesson in a form of engineering wisdom that was somehow lost to the centuries that followed. It stands as a quiet challenge, a proof that our ancestors could manipulate materials in ways we are still struggling to understand, pushing our search from a stationary monument to something far more dynamic and enigmatic. A single silver coin, no larger than a thumbnail, can append the story of a continent. Found amidst the shells and stone tools of a Native American settlement in Maine, this small Norse penny from the 11th century is an artifact wildly out of place. It is the only pre-Columbian Norse artifact ever found in the United States, a solitary whisper of a connection that history books long claimed was impossible. Dated to between 1065 and 1080, the coin was minted in Norway, a world away from the coastal Wabanaki people whose ancestral site it was discovered within. How did it travel across the Atlantic centuries before Columbus set sail? The most dramatic theory is that it was dropped by a Viking explorer, a direct piece of evidence for the Norse voyages to Vinland as described in the sagas, pushed far south of their known settlements in Newfoundland. Yet no other Viking artifacts have been found at the site. The more likely, though no less revolutionary, explanation is trade. The coin may have been passed from hand to hand over vast distances through indigenous trade networks that stretched from the Arctic down the eastern seaboard. It might have arrived not as currency, but as a curious trinket, a piece of exotic raw material, or a talisman from a distant people. This numismatic puzzle forces us to redraw the map of the ancient world, not with dotted lines of exploration, but with a vibrant, interconnected web of human contact. It suggests that the oceans were not absolute barriers, but potential highways for ideas and objects, long before official histories were written. The Maine Penny challenges the very idea of discovery, replacing a single moment of arrival with a far more complex and enduring story of sporadic, tentative, yet profound encounters. This tiny piece of silver proves that our world was connected in ways we are only beginning to comprehend, a thread that pulls us toward an even more baffling relic of ancient travel. The quiet endurance of a single iron pillar speaks to a mastery of material, but what happens when an entire landscape is transformed by objects of pure, impossible geometry? Deep in the humid jungles of Costa Rica's Diquis Delta, hundreds of stone spheres lie scattered, some half buried in the earth, others standing in silent, deliberate arrangements. They range from the size of a basketball to colossal orbs over 2 meters in diameter, weighing up to 16 tons. Their surfaces are unnervingly smooth, their shapes approaching mathematical perfection. The people who crafted them, part of a complex pre-Columbian society that flourished from around 300 to 1500 AD, left behind no written records to explain their work. The spheres are their legacy, a silent language carved in granite. How did they achieve such precision using only stone tools? Archaeologists using laser scanning and geological analysis have pieced together a possible method. The builders likely identified large boulders in riverbeds, then used a technique of controlled heating and rapid cooling to fracture the stone into a rough shape. From there, they would have painstakingly pecked and ground the surface with harder stones, sanding it smooth over generations. The true mystery, however, is not just how they were made, but why. Some theories suggest they were astronomical tools, their alignments marking solstices or equinoxes, creating a cosmic calendar for an agricultural society. Others believe they were symbols of power and status, arranged in patterns outside the homes of chiefs to denote authority and lineage. The most compelling clue is their placement. Many were found positioned in lines and geometric shapes, such as triangles and parallelograms, leading from central plazas towards important points on the horizon. This implies a deep understanding of both geometry and social space, turning the landscape itself into a map of their beliefs. These perfect stone balls are not random acts of nature. They are the products of a sophisticated culture with the patience, skill, and vision to reshape the very earth into forms of enduring mystery. Their silent presence inspires a quest to understand the minds of the people who saw the universe not as a chaotic place, but as a system of perfect circles and lines, a worldview that connects directly to another civilization that also looked to the stars and saw a complex mechanical order. That same impulse to map the stars on stone finds its most breathtaking expression in a small, shimmering disk of bronze. Unearthed by treasure hunters in the forested hills of Nebra, Germany, this object is known as the Nebra Sky Disk, and it is the oldest concrete depiction of the cosmos ever found. Crafted around 1,600 years before the Common Era, it predates any similar astronomical chart by nearly a millennium. The disk itself is a dark bronze circle, inlaid with golden symbols that gleam against the night-colored metal. You can clearly see a cluster of stars, a crescent moon, and a full, round sun. Arcing along the edges are two golden bands, interpreted as the horizon, and at the bottom, a curious, curving shape that scholars call a solar boat, a vessel believed to carry the sun on its nightly journey through the underworld. But this was far more than a simple religious icon. Researchers discovered that the cluster of stars between the sun and moon perfectly represents the Pleiades, a key constellation for ancient agricultural calendars. Even more remarkably, the angle between the two horizon arcs is 82 degrees, the exact difference between the sunset positions at the summer and winter solstices at that specific location in Germany. This means the disk was not just a picture, it was a sophisticated astronomical calculator. By aligning it with the real horizon, a Bronze Age priest or chieftain could determine the correct time for planting and harvesting, or for holding seasonal rituals. Its discovery shattered the long-held belief that such complex scientific understanding was the sole province of Mediterranean civilizations like Egypt or Mesopotamia. Here in the heart of Europe, people were meticulously observing the heavens, translating cosmic patterns into a portable, metal instrument. How did this knowledge develop, and who were the astronomers who first charted these alignments? The Nebra Sky Disk is a silent witness to a scientific revolution that happened in the misty forests of the Bronze Age, proving that the quest to understand the universe is a human impulse as old as time itself. This celestial map, guiding its users by the stars, finds a strange counterpart in an object that seems to have manipulated light itself with impossible precision. That shimmering bronze disk mapping the heavens was a guide for the land, but crossing the treacherous North Atlantic required a different kind of celestial tool, one that could pierce the veil of cloud and fog. Viking sagas speak of a magical stone, a solarstein or sunstone, that could reveal the sun's position even on the gloomiest days. For centuries, this was dismissed as pure myth, a fantastical element in their epic tales of exploration. How could a simple crystal locate a star hidden behind a solid blanket of cloud? The answer lies not in magic, but in the physics of light itself. Researchers identified a likely candidate, a transparent calcite crystal known as Iceland spar. When you hold this crystal up to the sky, even an overcast one, a remarkable thing happens. The crystal polarizes light, splitting it into two separate beams. By rotating the stone and observing the intensity of these twin images, a skilled user can pinpoint the exact location of the hidden sun with a degree of accuracy that seems almost supernatural. Recent maritime experiments have proven this method works with stunning precision, allowing navigators to determine the sun's bearing to within a single degree. This was the Vikings' secret weapon. While the magnetic compass was still centuries away from use in Europe, Norse sailors could have used these sunstones to hold their course across the featureless ocean, navigating from Norway to Iceland, Greenland, and even the shores of North America. The quest to confirm its use is a perfect fusion of ancient legend and cutting-edge optical physics. a scientific detective story that proves the sagas were more than just stories. They were manuals for survival, encoded with the advanced knowledge of a seafaring culture that read the sky in a way we are only now relearning. This crystal key to ancient travel unlocks the door to an even more perplexing artifact, one that suggests the journeys of our ancestors may have been far more extensive and far more mysterious than we ever dared to believe. The idea of a crystal guiding ships across the ocean is a testament to ancient ingenuity, but a small wooden object from the sands of Egypt dares to ask an even more audacious question. Could the principles of flight have been understood over 2,000 years ago? Discovered in a tomb at Saqqara, this artifact is commonly called the Saqqara Bird. At first glance, it appears to be a simple carving of a falcon, a common motif in Egyptian art, yet a closer look reveals features that are anything but ordinary. Unlike any bird in nature, it possesses a distinct vertical tail fin, perfectly straight and perpendicular to its body, and its wings are remarkably level and aerodynamically shaped, lacking the curved contours of a bird's wing. For decades, it was catalogued as a ceremonial object or a child's plaything, its peculiar design dismissed as stylistic choice. Then, aviation engineers examined it. They saw not a bird, but the clear profile of a monoplane glider. The hypothesis was so compelling that it demanded physical testing. Replicas of the Saqqara Bird were constructed and placed in wind tunnels. The results were startling, with a slight adjustment adding a horizontal stabilizer to its tail that could have been lost to time. The model demonstrated excellent aerodynamic properties. It could generate lift and glide smoothly through the air. This was not a random shape, it was a design that worked. The immediate question is profound. Was this a toy, a model for a larger, never-built craft, or perhaps the physical blueprint of an idea conceived by a brilliant, unknown mind? While mainstream Egyptology maintains it is a stylized bird, the wind tunnel tests cannot be easily dismissed. They suggest that, whether by accident or by intent, the creator of the Saqqara Bird had stumbled upon the fundamental principles of flight. It forces us to consider that the spark of innovation can flicker in isolation, a single artifact hinting at a path of technological development that history never took. This wooden glider, a silent dream of flight buried for millennia, perfectly sets the stage for another object that points to a different kind of mechanical genius, one locked within a series of intricate, interlocking boxes. A dream of flight carved in wood gives way to a puzzle forged in bronze. Scattered across the territories of the former Roman Empire, from the cold frontiers of Britain to the warm Mediterranean, are curious objects that defy categorization. They are the Roman Dodecahedra, small, hollow creations, each with 12 identical pentagonal faces, every face pierced with a circular hole of varying size. Tiny knobs sit at each corner where the faces meet. Crafted with exquisite precision, they are masterpieces of geometry, yet their purpose is a complete and total blank. No Roman text, no fresco, no personal letter ever mentions them. They are ghosts in the historical record, beautiful and mute. The theories are as varied as they are unproven. Could they have been tools for knitting, the knobs used to create seamless gloves? Perhaps they were sophisticated surveying instruments designed to calculate distances on the battlefield. Some argue they were religious relics, their perfect Platonic form a symbol of the universe, used in rituals we can no longer comprehend. Every proposed function runs into a wall. If they were for knitting, why are they found made of expensive bronze, and why the varying hole sizes? If they were for surveying, why is there no wear on the delicate knobs from being handled in the field? Mathematicians marvel at their symmetry, a shape revered for its perfection, while archaeologists map their find spots, hoping a pattern of location will whisper the object's secret. The true frustration and fascination of the dodecahedron is its stubborn refusal to be just one thing. It represents a technology or a practice so commonplace to its era that no one thought to write it down, a piece of everyday Roman genius that has become, for us, an eternal enigma. This geometric mystery, a symbol of lost practical knowledge, connects to a different kind of artifact altogether, one that seems to capture a fleeting moment of immense ancient power. That geometric puzzle of the Roman dodecahedron, a mystery of daily life, stands in stark contrast to a temple carving that seems to depict a technological marvel. Deep within the crypt of the Hathor Temple at Dendera, Egypt, a stone relief presents an image that has ignited fierce debate for decades. It shows two figures holding aloft a giant transparent bulb, inside of which a snake stretches coiled like a filament. This bulb is connected by a cable to a box upon which a priest is resting his feet, and the entire scene is supported by a pillar that looks uncannily like a high-tension insulator. To the modern eye, it is unmistakably an ancient light bulb. The theory is captivating, suggesting the Egyptians illuminated their deepest, windowless tombs and temples with electric light, explaining the soot-free walls that have long puzzled archaeologists. Proponents point to the Baghdad Battery as a potential power source and ask how the intricate, pitch-black interior passages of the pyramids could have been decorated without a stable, powerful light. Yet, mainstream Egyptology offers a very different, deeply symbolic interpretation. They identify the object not as a bulb, but as a lotus flower from which a divine serpent is emerging, representing the moment of creation and the journey of the sun god through the underworld. The cable is a lotus stem, the box is a jed pillar symbolizing stability, and the snake is the god Harsomptus being born. This is a creation myth carved in stone, not an electrical diagram. So who is right? The debate hinges on our own perception. Are we seeing what was truly there, or are we projecting our modern world onto an ancient one? The Dendera relief forces a crucial question about how we interpret the past, pushing us to look beyond the literal and understand the symbolic mind of a civilization for whom myth and reality were deeply intertwined. This enigmatic carving, whether a divine serpent or a forgotten lamp, serves as a powerful bridge to another object that also seems to harness a fundamental force of nature, but one that resonates with a deep, rhythmic pulse from the earth itself. High on the remote slopes of Mount Baigong in China, a collection of rusted iron pipes protrudes from solid rock. They are not a modern installation, but an ancient enigma, found embedded in stone that dates back tens of thousands of years, a time when humans were supposedly using only simple stone tools. These Baigong pipes, as they are known, run deep into the mountain, with some leading to a nearby saltwater lake, suggesting a complex engineered system for an unknown purpose. The pipes themselves are a metallurgical puzzle composed of an iron alloy with a significant amount of silicon dioxide. Their arrangement feels deliberate, a network of tubes that should not, by our conventional timeline, exist. The immediate, dramatic theory is that they are the remnants of a lost, advanced civilization, one with industrial capabilities that predate any known culture by millennia. Yet, geologists propose a different, equally fascinating origin. They suggest the pipes could be the result of a natural process called dendritic iron formation, where mineral-rich water flows through rock fissures, depositing iron oxides that harden over eons into pipe-like structures. These pseudofossils can appear remarkably manufactured, a perfect trick of geology. So, are they the rusted plumbing of a prehistoric factory, or simply nature's stunning imitation of one? The quest to answer this has led scientists to analyze the surrounding strata and the pipe's precise composition, searching for a definitive clue. This mystery forces a profound question. How do we distinguish the handiwork of intelligence from the patient, sculpting hand of nature? The Baigong Pipes stand as a stark challenge, pushing our investigation of ancient technology from grand structures to the most intimate and daring of human endeavors, the art of healing the human body itself. The human body itself became a canvas for this ancient ingenuity, a fact made stunningly clear by a simple wooden toe. Discovered attached to the foot of a female mummy from ancient Egypt, this artifact is not a ceremonial piece or a simple cosmetic cover. It is a fully functional prosthetic, meticulously carved from wood and leather, designed with a level of anatomical understanding that feels centuries ahead of its time. The toe is not a rigid block. It features a hinge and a series of straps that would have allowed it to flex naturally with the step, providing its wearer with genuine balance and comfort. This was not about appearance, it was about restoring a fundamental human ability to walk without a limp, to navigate the world with dignity. Modern biomechanical studies using replicas have confirmed its effectiveness, proving it could withstand the repetitive pressure of a human gait. This single object rewrites our understanding of ancient medicine. It reveals a society that possessed not just medical knowledge, but a profound sense of empathy and rehabilitation. The craftsmanship speaks of skilled artisans working in tandem with healers, creating personalized solutions for individuals with disabilities. Who was this woman, and what was her life like with this advanced orthotic? The toe suggests she held a status that warranted such careful, custom engineering. It forces us to see the ancient world not as a brutal struggle for survival, but as a place where compassion and technology could intersect to improve a single human life. This medical marvel, a quiet triumph of wood and leather, pushes our quest from the practical art of healing toward an artifact of pure, enigmatic beauty, a human skull carved from a single piece of crystal. The quiet triumph of that wooden toe, a masterpiece of practical empathy, is echoed by an object of pure, chilling artistry. Crafted from a single block of clear quartz, the crystal skulls stand as some of the most controversial and captivating artifacts ever to emerge from the ancient world. Often attributed to the Maya or Aztecs, their flawless, translucent surfaces and impossibly smooth contours seem to defy the tools of their time, while sensational stories claimed they were the work of lost civilizations like Atlantis. The truth is far more complex and scientifically compelling. Investigations have revealed that many of the most famous skulls, like the one once displayed at the British Museum, are clever modern hoaxes carved with industrial-grade jewelers' tools from the 19th century. Yet, a handful of skulls, like the Mitchell-Hedges skull discovered in the 1920s, present a more stubborn mystery. These specimens show no visible tool marks under standard magnification, a feat that would require a grinding and polishing process of almost unimaginable patience and skill, taking generations to complete with primitive methods. How could ancient artisans have worked quartz, a material harder than steel, with such perfection? Scientists now deploy high-powered electron microscopes and material analysis to search for the ghost of the maker's hand. They look for microscopic traces of abrasive compounds like diamond dust or the distinctive signature of modern high-speed rotary tools. This forensic archaeometry aims to separate patient genius from clever forgery. The skulls, whether ancient or modern, have become powerful symbols, inspiring a quest that sits at the intersection of rigorous science and enduring popular myth. They challenge us to define the very limits of ancient craftsmanship, pushing our investigation from the realm of perfect art to an artifact that seems to defy the entire timeline of human artistic expression itself. The flawless crystal skulls challenge our ideas of ancient artistry, but another artifact presents a different kind of mystery, one carved not in crystal but in warm, porous limestone. Known as the Lady of Elche, this hauntingly beautiful bust was discovered by chance in 1897 on a Spanish farm, its serene gaze seeming to watch from a depth of over 2,000 years. Her face is composed and elegant, but it is her headdress that immediately captivates and confuses. Two enormous spiraled coils, like vast wheels or futuristic headphones, frame her face. Intricate necklaces and a meticulously carved mantle complete an ensemble of staggering complexity. The immediate question is unavoidable. What are those coils? They are too large and rigid to be mere hair. Some theories suggest they are part of an elaborate ceremonial costume, perhaps representing the spoked wheels of a sacred chariot or a symbolic representation of the cycles of the moon. Others, looking at their precise technical form, have proposed they could be a form of advanced acoustic device, a kind of ancient hearing aid or amplifier. Yet the most compelling mystery lies in her origins. Stylistically, she is an anomaly. While officially classified as Iberian, her serene, classical features and the sophistication of her carving feel out of place. She bears a striking resemblance to sculptures from ancient Greece or even Phoenician art, suggesting she may be the product of a profound cultural fusion, a portrait of a high-status woman from a society deeply connected to the wider Mediterranean world. Was she a priestess, a goddess, or a queen? Her identity is as layered as the stone from which she is carved. Anthropologists meticulously compare her symbols to those of other cultures, searching for a shared language of power and belief. The Lady of Elche does not just represent a person, she represents a conversation between civilizations, a silent witness to networks of trade and ideas that stretched across the ancient sea. Her enigmatic presence drives a quest to understand not just who she was, but the interconnected world she inhabited, a world where identity was as complex and decorated as her magnificent headdress. This search for identity through art leads us directly to an object that carries not a face, but a name, a single word stamped on a piece of lead that has launched 1,000 scholarly quests. The serene face of the Lady of Elche represents a known culture speaking an unknown personal story, but on a remote island in the vast Pacific, an entire library of history is trapped in plain sight. The Rongorongo Tablets of Easter Island are a collection of wooden artifacts, their surfaces densely carved with a script of glyphs unlike any other in the world. You see stylized birds, frigate birds with long, curved beaks, human figures in dynamic postures, and abstract geometric shapes, all arranged in a system of writing that switched direction with every line, a method called reverse boustrophedon. When European missionaries first arrived on the island in the 1860s, they found these tablets, but they also discovered a tragic reality. The slave raids and diseases that had ravaged the population had also wiped out the last elders who could read them. The knowledge was severed in a single, brutal generation. Linguists and computer scientists now face a monumental task. They scan every groove, analyzing the statistical patterns and recurring sequences of symbols, searching for a Rosetta Stone that does not exist. They look for potential connections to other Polynesian languages, hoping a shared ancestral root might offer a key, but so far the code remains unbroken. Are these tablets religious chants, genealogical records of the great chiefs, or perhaps the very history of the island's settlement and the story behind its famous moai statues? Each undeciphered line is a locked door to a lost world. The relentless quest to understand Rongorongo is a race against time for all endangered languages, a stark reminder of how fragile human knowledge can be. This drive to recover lost histories pushes our search from the remote Pacific to a discovery in the Americas that challenges the very clock of human arrival. That debate over the first Americans finds its starkest battleground not in a grand temple, but in the sun-scorched dirt of the Mojave Desert. At the Calico Early Man site in California, archaeologists uncovered what they believed were stone tools, simple scrapers and choppers, buried deep in ancient alluvial fan deposits. The shocking part was not the tools themselves, but their proposed age. The geological layer they were found in was dated to over 200,000 years old. This claim sent shockwaves through the scientific community because, according to the accepted timeline, the first humans did not cross into the Americas until around 15 to 20,000 years ago, at the very earliest. How could human artifacts exist on this continent 180,000 years before they were supposed to arrive? The controversy ignited immediately. Skeptics argued that the supposed tools were not tools at all, but geofacts, rocks fractured by natural forces like earth movements or tumbling in ancient streams. Nature, they pointed out, can create remarkably sharp edges and shapes that mimic human handiwork. To settle the debate, researchers turned to rigorous scientific analysis. Geochronologists meticulously dated the surrounding soil layers using advanced methods. Meanwhile, archaeologists employed use-wear analysis, studying the microscopic patterns of polish, striations, and edge damage on the stones under high-powered microscopes. Authentic tools used for cutting or scraping develop a distinctive signature of where that is nearly impossible for natural processes to replicate. The findings remain fiercely contested. Proponents of the site point to specific patterns they argue are unequivocally human-made, while detractors see only random geological noise. This is not just an academic argument, it is a fundamental challenge to the story of human migration. If even one of these stones is genuinely a tool, our entire understanding of when and how humans populated the New World collapses, suggesting a much older and perhaps entirely different migration wave lost to deep time. The Calico site forces a humbling question. Are we seeing the first chapter of human history in America, or are we simply projecting our own story onto the indifferent shapes of stone? This profound reevaluation of human origins based on the Earth itself connects to a different kind of ancient intelligence, one that used the landscape as a vast astronomical instrument. That profound connection between the Earth and the sky finds one of its most perfect expressions on the Mediterranean island of Malta. Here, the Mnajdra Temples rise from the rocky coastline, a complex of stone structures built over 5,000 years ago, making them older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. These are not random piles of rock, they are architectural marvels constructed with massive limestone slabs, forming a series of oval chambers and ceremonial spaces. Their true genius, however, is not just in their construction, but in their precise orientation to the cosmos. The main doorway of the lower temple is perfectly aligned so that on the spring and autumn equinoxes, the first rays of the rising sun slice directly through the entrance, illuminating the main central altar with a narrow, brilliant beam of light. During the summer and winter solstices, the same doorway channels sunlight to strike specific stone markers and corners of the interior chambers, marking the longest and shortest days of the year with unerring accuracy. This was not a lucky accident. The builders possessed a sophisticated understanding of the solar cycle, using their temple as a giant, immovable calendar. It allowed this prehistoric society, which left behind no written records, to track the passage of time, predict the changing seasons for agriculture, and likely orchestrate their most important rituals around these powerful celestial moments. Archaeoastronomers continue to study these alignments, piecing together the cognitive world of these ancient people, a world where architecture, religion, and science were seamlessly intertwined. The Mnajdra Temples stand as a silent stone computer, a testament to a human intellect that could map the heavens onto the landscape long before the advent of metal tools. This leap from megalithic astronomy to metallurgy, however, leads to a discovery that seems to shatter the accepted timeline of human technology, a metal object so out of place it appears to be a relic from the future. Buried deep within a Romanian riverbank, a simple wedge of metal became an archaeological firestorm. Known as the Aiud Artifact, this object was found encased in a layer of sandstone alongside the bones of a mastodon, a creature that went extinct millions of years ago. The wedge itself is composed primarily of aluminum, a metal that requires a complex industrial process involving immense electrical current to be refined from its ore. Yet, according to the geological stratum it was pulled from, this artifact should not exist. Aluminum was not successfully isolated until the early 19th century, making its discovery in million-year-old rock a chronological impossibility. The immediate and most common explanation is that it is a piece of modern machinery, perhaps a tooth from an excavator bucket that fell into the sediments and became naturally cemented over a few decades. However, the analysis of the object itself introduced troubling complications. A thick, hard layer of oxidation coated the metal, a patina that experts argued would take far more than a century to form. Furthermore, its specific shape, a wedge with two perfectly drilled holes, does not match any known contemporary industrial part. Materials scientists have subjected the wedge to intense scrutiny, using spectrometry to analyze its unique alloy composition and searching for clues in its corrosion that might lock in its true age. Is this a misplaced piece of 20th century equipment? Or does it point to a forgotten, advanced civilization capable of metallurgical feats we thought were uniquely modern? The Aiud artifact forces a confrontation between hard geology and our established timeline of technology, a tangible piece of metal that feels like it fell out of time itself, perfectly setting the stage for an ancient discovery that involves not metal, but a mastery of chemistry. That same mastery of chemistry, which created a metal from the future, finds its most terrifying expression in a weapon of liquid flame. For centuries, the naval supremacy of the Byzantine Empire was secured by a single, devastating secret, a substance known to history as Greek fire. Descriptions from ancient chroniclers are both awe-inspiring and terrifying. This incendiary liquid was launched from bronze tubes mounted on the prows of their warships, and upon striking the water, it did not sizzle out. Instead, it erupted into a roaring, inextinguishable inferno that clung to everything it touched, even floating and burning on the waves themselves. Enemy sailors could not put it out with water, which only seemed to feed the flames. It was a psychological and physical weapon of mass destruction for its time, a technological advantage so profound it protected Constantinople from sieges for over 700 years. The exact formula was the state's most closely guarded secret, known only to the Byzantine emperor and a single family of chemists, a secret so effectively kept that it vanished completely when the empire finally fell. Modern chemists and historians have become detectives, sifting through cryptic Byzantine military manuals for clues. The primary ingredient was likely a crude petroleum like naphtha, drawn from natural oil seeps in the region. But the magic, the property that made it burn so fiercely and resist water, is the true mystery. Some experiments suggest the addition of quicklime, a substance that generates intense heat when it contacts water, potentially reigniting the mixture. Others propose resins or saltpeter to create a sticky, self-oxidizing napalm-like gel. The quest to recreate Greek fire is more than a historical exercise. It is a window into the sophisticated, albeit brutal, chemical engineering of the medieval world. It shows us that ancient alchemists were not just searching for gold, they were pioneering the applied science of warfare, manipulating the fundamental properties of matter. This fiery enigma, a ghost of chemistry lost to time, forces us to look beyond weapons and consider how ancient cultures understood the very ground beneath their feet, leading to a structure that seems to harness the deep, telluric power of the earth itself. The debate over nature versus human craft finds its most perplexing form in a handful of small, grooved spheres unearthed from 3-billion-year-old rock in South Africa. Known as the Klerksdorp Spheres, these objects are no larger than a walnut, yet their appearance is startlingly artificial. Each one is perfectly round, often bisected by 3 parallel grooves carved as if by a machinist's tool, a level of symmetry that feels deliberate and precise. When miners first discovered them embedded in mineral deposits older than complex life itself, the immediate question was unavoidable. How could such geometrically perfect objects form naturally in an era when only single-celled organisms inhabited the planet? The most dramatic theories proposed they were artifacts of a lost, pre-human civilization or even visitors from the stars, tangible evidence left behind in deep time. Science, however, offers a different, equally fascinating narrative. Geologists identify them as concretions, formed when minerals like pyrite or hematite slowly precipitated from a solution, crystallizing layer by layer around a central nucleus, perhaps a grain of sand. Over eons, the surrounding softer rock eroded away, leaving these hard, spherical cores behind. The mysterious grooves, they argue, are the result of crystal formation patterns or the pressure of subsequent geological forces. Yet the precision of those parallel lines continues to fuel debate. Researchers use petrographic analysis, slicing the spheres into thin sections to study their internal structure under microscopes, searching for the telltale crystalline patterns of natural growth. This meticulous work reveals a complex history of mineral deposition, a patient chemical artistry conducted over millions of years. The Klerksdorp Spheres ultimately challenge us to define the line where nature's random processes can produce objects of such stunning order that they mimic the work of an intelligent hand. They are a humbling reminder that our planet is a master craftsman in its own right, capable of creating forms that constantly test our perceptions of the possible. This geological puzzle, a question of natural measurement and form, leads us directly to an artifact that seems to embody a perfect and perfectly inexplicable system of weights. A society's entire worldview can be measured by the stick it uses. In the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, a city of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, archaeologists unearthed a simple bronze rod. It is a ruler marked with divisions so precise and consistent that they reveal a stunning truth. This civilization, which flourished over 4,000 years ago, operated on a standardized system of measurement. The units, now known as the Indus inch, are so uniform across countless bricks, buildings, and even other cities like Harappa that they point to a central authority enforcing these standards. Imagine the coordination required, builders from different parts of the vast civilization all using the same ruler, creating bricks of identical dimensions that fit together perfectly in structures that still stand today. This was not a matter of convenience, it was the bedrock of their urban planning, trade, and governance. Metrologists, scientists who study measurement, are fascinated by this artifact. They see in its etched lines a society with a sophisticated grasp of mathematics and geometry, capable of subdividing units with an accuracy that would not be out of place in a modern workshop. How did they maintain this consistency across such a wide area without a known written language to broadcast the rules? The ruler itself becomes a symbol of silent, universal law, a physical token of a complex social contract. It prompts profound questions about the nature of their governance and the technological mindset that could conceive of such uniformity. This drive to impose perfect, measurable order on the world finds a strange and beautiful echo in a different kind of artifact, one that sought to measure not space but sound itself. That same drive to impose order, so clear in the standardized ruler, found expression in a far more mysterious structure, one that measured not space but the very vibrations of sound itself. Beneath the quiet streets of modern Malta lies the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni, a labyrinthine complex carved from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago. This is not a temple built upward, but one excavated downward, a sprawling, three-level subterranean world of chambers, halls, and tombs. Its sheer scale is a marvel of prehistoric engineering, but its true mystery is not in its silence but in its voice. Researchers in the field of archaeoacoustics have discovered that specific chambers within the Hypogeum are not just rooms, they are finely tuned resonators. The oracle room, in particular, possesses an astonishing property. If you speak in a deep, male voice at a certain pitch, your voice does not just echo, it amplifies and resonates, vibrating through the stone with an intensity that can be felt in your bones. This is not a random acoustic effect. The chamber is carved to perfectly amplify a frequency of 110 Hz. A specific sonic vibration that modern experiments have shown has a profound effect on the human brain. At this frequency, brainwave patterns can shift, potentially inducing states of deep relaxation, heightened focus, or even altered consciousness. Was this an accident of architecture, or was it by design? The theory is that the Hypogeum was not merely a burial site, but a sanctuary for sound-based rituals. Priests or shamans could have used chanting or drumming in these chambers to guide initiates into trance-like states for healing, divination, or spiritual communion. The very stones of the Hypogeum seem to have been shaped to harness the power of sound, turning the underground complex into a massive, sacred instrument. This discovery forces us to see these ancient people not just as stone carvers, but as masters of a psychoacoustic science, architects of experience who understood the intimate link between vibration and human perception. Their quest to map the internal landscape of the mind through sound finds a parallel in a different ancient endeavor, one that sought to chart the vast external landscape of the night sky. A civilization does not need written words to build a library of the stars. For over 60,000 years, Aboriginal Australians have woven intricate astronomical knowledge into the very fabric of their culture, creating a living archive in oral traditions, songlines, and rock art. These are not simple myths, but precise star maps encoded in story, detailing the movements of celestial bodies with a clarity that has stunned modern astronomers. One of the most profound examples comes from the traditions surrounding the star Betelgeuse. For generations, elders spoke of a time when the great hunter in the sky, the red star we call Betelgeuse, was not red but white. This was considered a cultural memory, a story passed down through countless generations. Then, astrophysics caught up. Modern analysis confirmed that Betelgeuse is a variable star that likely was a yellow-white supergiant in the recent past, a change that would have been visible to the naked eye a few thousand years ago. The Aboriginal stories had preserved an accurate astronomical record of this stellar evolution for millennia, a feat of long-term observation that science has only just verified. Similarly, rock art in the Kimberley region appears to depict a supernova explosion that lit up the sky in the year 1006, an event also recorded by Chinese and Arab astronomers. How did they achieve this? The knowledge was not stored in books, but in a sophisticated system of pedagogy. Complex information about star positions, planetary movements, and even the precession of the equinoxes was embedded in song cycles and dance, memorized and performed with rigorous accuracy to ensure not a single detail was lost across the centuries. These traditions served as calendars, navigation guides, and moral frameworks, intimately linking the land and the sky. The collaboration between anthropologists and astronomers to decode these star maps is more than scientific inquiry. It is an act of cultural recovery, revealing a vast, untapped reservoir of human knowledge. It forces a re-evaluation of what science is, proving that rigorous observation and data preservation can thrive entirely within an oral tradition. This deep, ancestral connection to the cosmos through story finds a quieter, more enigmatic echo in a single stone, standing alone on a windswept plain. That deep ancestral connection to the sky is carved into the very earth of South Africa, where a ring of standing stones known as Adam's Calendar waits silently on a high plateau. This circular arrangement of large, weathered dolerite stones is not grand in scale, but its implications are world-shattering. Proponents of its ancient origins claim it is the oldest man-made structure on Earth, a calendar and observatory erected over 75,000 years ago. If true, this would place its creation at a time when modern humans were just beginning their great migration out of Africa, suggesting a level of social organization and astronomical sophistication we never imagined for that era. The site is aligned with the cardinal points north, south, east, and west, with specific stones marking the rising and setting sun on the solstices and equinoxes. A central monolith, often called the Fallen Calendar Stone, is pierced by a perfectly circular hole, which some researchers believe could have been used to track the sun's movement with a beam of light. The quest to verify these claims pits traditional archaeology against a new wave of interdisciplinary researchers. Geologists and astronomers use satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar to map the site's precise alignments, searching for evidence of human placement versus natural geological processes. They scrutinize the weathering patterns on the stones, known as rock varnish, to estimate their age, while archaeologists look for any trace of tool marks, charcoal from ancient fires, or other signs of habitation that could confirm human activity. The debate is fierce, with skeptics arguing the formation is entirely natural, perhaps the collapsed remains of an old cattle kraal from a few centuries ago. Yet the sheer number of aligned stones and their geometric precision continues to inspire a profound quest. Adam's calendar forces a radical question. Did humanity's first great leap toward civilization, the drive to build monuments and track the heavens, occur tens of thousands of years earlier than we ever believed? This search for the very origins of human genius, etched in stone, now prepares us for a discovery where that genius was stamped onto a far more durable and mysterious material. A story carved in lead can be more dangerous than one written in ink. In the late 16th century, a series of small, lead-bound books were discovered in caves near Sacramento, Spain. They were immediately hailed as a miraculous find, sacred texts written by early Christian martyrs in a mysterious, ancient script. The lead pages, bound with lead wire, seem to offer a direct link to the dawn of Christianity in the Iberian Peninsula, a powerful relic for a nation fiercely proud of its Catholic identity. For decades, they were venerated, their unknown language seen as a divine code. But then the questions began. The script, though unique, bore stylistic quirks that felt anachronistic. The very material, lead, was an unusual choice for sacred texts meant to endure. As modern scholars applied linguistic analysis and historical scrutiny, a different story emerged. The evidence increasingly pointed to a brilliant, audacious forgery crafted by Moriscos, Muslims forced to convert to Christianity, as a way to create a shared religious history that might secure their place in a hostile society. They had invented a complete language and a set of relics to protect their community. Yet, even exposed as a probable hoax, the lead books of Sacrament refused to surrender all their secrets. Linguists are still captivated by the constructed language, a complex cipher with its own internal grammar and logic. Why create such an elaborate fictional tongue? The books stand as a profound literary puzzle, a testament to how the desperate human need for identity and belonging can fuel acts of incredible ingenuity. They force us to look beyond the question of real or fake and into the powerful socio-political fires that forge our most cherished artifacts. This exploration of a magnetic personality from the ancient world, a man whose very name would become synonymous with attraction, pulls us toward a different kind of force altogether, one inherent to the Earth itself. That same magnetic pull of identity and belief finds a physical echo in the stones of a much older civilization. In the sweltering lowlands of ancient Mexico, the Olmec people, often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, left behind colossal stone heads and intricate jade carvings. Among their artifacts, however, are smaller, more enigmatic objects, polished bars and stones made of lodestone, a naturally magnetic mineral. When archaeologists first examined these artifacts, they noticed something peculiar. Some of these stones were carved into polished, bar-shaped objects with a distinct north-south polarity. They were not merely decorative, they were Olmec compasses. The immediate question is staggering. How did a civilization that flourished over 3,000 years ago, long before the Chinese invented the first magnetic compass for navigation, discover and harness this invisible force? Archaeologists and physicists have teamed up to investigate, placing these ancient lodestones in controlled environments to see if their magnetic poles align with the Earth's own magnetic field. The results confirm that many of them do, their polarity locked in by the mineral structure. This suggests the Olmecs were not just aware of magnetism, they were actively using it. But for what purpose? Without a written record, we are left to piece together the clues. Perhaps these magnetic stones were used for celestial navigation, their steady pull providing a fixed reference point for travelers and traders. It is equally plausible their use was deeply ritualistic. In a world where unseen forces were attributed to gods and spirits, a stone that could move on its own or point unerringly in one direction would have been a powerful sacred object, a literal piece of magic. The quest to understand the Olmec compass inspires a broader scientific pursuit, the study of how the same fundamental technologies can be independently invented by cultures separated by vast oceans and millennia. It demonstrates that the human mind, when confronted with the same natural phenomena, can arrive at similar profound insights, a shared spark of genius flickering across time and space. This final piece of the puzzle, an ancient understanding of a fundamental force, brings our journey to its ultimate destination, a place where all these threads of mystery, innovation, and loss converge. Sometimes the most profound mysteries are woven into the fabric of a story we think we know. The tapestry of Bayeux is not ancient in the same sense as a stone circle or a rusted pipe, but this 70-meter-long embroidered cloth from the 11th century holds its own enigmas. It is a celebrated historical document, a vivid comic strip of the Norman conquest of England, depicting the Battle of Hastings with dramatic flair. Yet, nestled among its scenes of armies and ships, one particular panel has ignited a fierce debate among historians and astronomers alike. Just after the appearance of a star with a fiery tail, which most interpret as Halley's Comet, King Harold is shown sitting nervously on his throne, as if the celestial event is a direct omen of his impending doom. But is this simply artistic symbolism, or could it be a precise astronomical record? Some researchers propose the fiery star is not Halley's comet at all, but a different, more dramatic supernova explosion, a stellar event that would have blazed in the daytime sky. This theory sends scientists and art historians into a rare collaboration, cross-referencing the tapestry's timeline with Chinese and Middle Eastern astronomical records from the same year, searching for a corroborating flash in the deep past. The tapestry becomes more than art. It transforms into a potential data set, its colorful threads holding a possible key to a cosmic event 1,000 years gone. This final object perfectly encapsulates the entire quest we have been on. It demonstrates that the line between a known historical artifact and an unexplained mystery can be as fine as a single stitch. The Bayeux Tapestry encourages us to look again at the familiar, to apply an interdisciplinary lens where science and the humanities converge to ask new questions of old evidence. It reminds us that our understanding of the past is never truly complete, that every artifact, no matter how well studied, has the potential to reveal a new secret if we are only willing to see it with fresh eyes. These scattered artifacts, from celestial computers to rust-proof pillars, are not isolated curiosities. When you step back and view them as a collection, a startling pattern comes into focus. Time and again, we see evidence of sophisticated astronomy, a deep understanding of materials and engineering principles that feel centuries ahead of their time. This is not the slow, steady climb of progress we were taught. Instead, human history appears to be a story of brilliant, flickering flames of innovation, some of which burned brightly and then were somehow extinguished, their light lost for ages. The quiet endurance of the Delhi iron pillar speaks to a metallurgical peak, while the intricate gears of the Antikythera Mechanism represent an astronomical understanding that simply vanished. These objects challenge our comfortable, linear model of history, suggesting a past filled with profound peaks and deep valleys of knowledge. So what are scientists doing with these baffling clues? They are building a new toolkit for the quest. Beyond carbon dating, they now use particle accelerators to analyze elemental compositions without damaging a single artifact. They deploy laser scanning to create perfect digital twins of objects, and they use artificial intelligence to search for patterns in ancient scripts that the human eye could never detect. This is no longer a solitary pursuit. Physicists work alongside linguists, chemists alongside historians, creating collaborative frameworks that break down the walls between disciplines. The true value of these 31 mysteries, then, is not just in the answers they might one day provide, but in the questions they force us to ask today. They are a powerful reminder that curiosity is the true engine of discovery. Every unexplained artifact is an open invitation, a challenge to look deeper into our shared past and to humbly accept that the story of human ingenuity is far richer, more complex, and more wonderful than we ever imagined. Our journey through these 31 unexplained artifacts reveals a history far more dynamic than any textbook could contain. From the celestial gears of the Antikythera Mechanism to the threaded omens of the Bayeux Tapestry, each object is a beacon, casting its light into the uncharted territories of our past. They are not merely relics to be catalogued, but profound challenges that force science to constantly question and revise its most foundational assumptions. The very existence of a 2,000-year-old computer or a rust-proof iron pillar humbles us, reminding us that the timeline of human innovation is not a straight, predictable line, but a story of brilliant flashes, devastating losses, and patient rediscovery. This pursuit is no longer confined to the archaeologist's trowel. It is a collaborative quest where physicists date artifacts with particle accelerators, linguists train artificial intelligence on unbreakable codes, and materials scientists reverse engineer ancient alloys. In seeking to understand these mysteries, we are not just uncovering the secrets of our ancestors, we are actively forging new tools and interdisciplinary methods that will shape the discoveries of tomorrow. Let these objects be a permanent invitation to curiosity, a call to always question the known and to boldly explore the vast, wonderful unknown that still surrounds us. We would love to hear which of these ancient enigmas captured your imagination the most. Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to continue exploring the wonders of our world together.